This series has three endings, or it felt like it had three endings. Netflix originally gave us 4 episodes, of which they said this is a limited series and here are the 4 complete episodes of the series. Me hitting that ending thinking, wait, is that the ending? That can't be the ending. And then checking up online and finding out there are actually 7 episodes according to Google, 8 according to IMDb, and then finding out the correct number is 7. There's an ending that could be at number 4, and there's an ending at number 6, which would have been devastating, but that is a thing that could have happened. But thankfully, they wrap it up quite well at the end of episode 7, which is a limited series, but also could have another series if they wanted to. Let's get into it. Erin Carter, a British teacher in Spain, finds herself caught up in a supermarket robbery. When one of the robbers claims to recognize her, her life threatens to unravel. So we have a mom who is teacher, or a substitute teacher at least, trying to become a full-time teacher. She has a young daughter and a marriage. We see something happen with her at the beginning, and then it's quickly 5 years later, and that's the story. Well, at least like the first half of the season, where we're trying to discover who she is, and then the second half is that unravel and the revelation as to who is Erin Carter, hence the title. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this series. Every episode kept me guessing as to where I thought it was going to go, and then they do the reveal, but that doesn't detract away from the story, because it's so interesting to find out where our characters are going to end up, because you are worrying for them. You wonder how they're going to survive this. Will the family survive this? Will the people that you've come to care for, because the writing is so good that way, go the way that you want it to? However, it is a bit cheesy in some of the dialogue in places, and it is predictable in some of the places. And sometimes the acting feels a little bit forced. There are some lines from our actress who plays Erin Carter. The way she says, "I am Erin Carter," reminds me, I am John Carter of Earth.
John Carter of Earth?
There were just little moments that kind of took me out of it. Almost felt like ADR dubbing over those moments. But for the most part, the other times with the dialogue delivery and everything was excellent. And then we come down to the very interesting martial arts here. Well, I would say it's more like Krav Maga, close combat, hand-to-hand combat fighting. And Erin Carter is believable. The fights here are brutal, but in a very realistic way. Much more detracted from, let's say, the John Wick type-esque films. There's great choreography here, but they're believable. So she looks like she can handle herself, but when she's coming up against people that are trained, she's going to get hurt. We know there's some mysterious thing that has happened to her in the past, and that is all kind of unraveling. And so when we see her in those early fights, you're like, but how can she handle herself this well? And then when it's revealed, you get it, but the fights are still really brutal. I like the crescendo of this series. The beginning, middle, and end, everything is formulated very well, so that we have the last episodes, which are incredibly tense, midway point, which is incredibly tense, making you want to watch each episode, click over. It's a very bingeable series. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody, like over the weekend, if you don't have any plans, if you binge watch the whole series in one go, or in a couple of nights, and end up like staying up late and being tired for work the next day. It's definitely that type of series. If you can put aside some of the unbelievable moments where our character is still going, it's the sort of thing where Jason Statham is Stathaming. We can have that as a phrase now, Stathaming, and stabbing himself with some adrenaline, electric shock himself like in one of his Crank movies, and just keep on going. It's that sort of thing here. It's but a flesh wound. That kind of thing you have to put aside, but they don't do that too much. Most of it is grounded and realistic. Like it plays on that little trope. If your family member is in danger, then what would you be able to do? Those things where parents are able to lift cars in moments when a family member is in danger. They kind of use that as an excuse for our characters to being able to continue moving forward. But it is a series where one thing is accomplished and then everything else keeps going wrong. Every time they get out of one situation, they find themselves in 3 more difficult situations. There are a number of characters here that I liked. I thought that were very good. Sean Teal, who plays Geordie, her husband, I like what we get of him, but not a lot is known about him. Evan Ahmed, who plays Erin Carter, you've seen her in a number of other series before, and she has great presence, a very moody type of person naturally. And what I mean by that, not like she'd be moody when you're around her, just the presence she brings to her character, that she's contemplating things and trying to deal with more than she can cope with, is kind of shown evidently on her face. Then we have a young actress who plays Harper, the young daughter, Indica Watson. I quite like what the story does with her, because she's had some big trauma in her past. We get to see that play on her, and they showcase how fragile a mind is, and how your mind would see past events and showcase that for her as a young woman growing up now, dealing with what her mum is, knowing that something's wrong but can't place that. I thought she was excellent in this role, and very believable as that mother and daughter role, or mother and father and daughter role, trying to keep your family from exploding. And you just know something's wrong, but you're desperately trying to hold on to your family unit. That's kind of the role that this young daughter has to take on. And so that's a lot for a young girl to kind of take on as a role, to encompass. And I thought she knocked it out of the park. There's only one character in here that I didn't really get. The guy, Jamie Bamber, who plays D.I. Jim Armstrong. You see him a number of times in this series, and it's weird. He's moments on screen. It's like they intended this guy character to be in a soap. Like, he really felt like a very pretty looking dude speaks in a very manly sort of tone, and he looks, his beard is much more contained than mine, less wild. It looks like he stepped out of a Vogue novel, and also is about to have 3 different relationships at once, and he's that type of guy. And I love her, but I love you too. It feels like he has drama going with him, and the way he kind of, I guess, is directed to deliver his lines, really weird atmosphere coming from this guy. It's like they didn't really know what to do with his character. I don't know if I'm the only one that felt that about this character, but that was one negative for me. I was like, I just don't know what to do with that character. But everything else was excellent. The choreographed fight scenes, very realistic. The acting, the emotional, the ride, very much one of the strange series that I wasn't expecting to be as good as it is. It's not doing anything new, but the mystery is there enough for you to be wanting to watch it. It's very entertaining, and that's what I needed right now. I needed something that's not going to make me think too hard. Just go there for the ride, enjoy the action, execute it well, and have a great cast kind of delivering their lines, encasing you in a good, fun adventure story, which this is. You care about the characters, so when stuff happens, you are there with them. I'm going to give this a solid 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
I had a good time with this. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who was your favorite character? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.